Okay, so a lot of landowners sit on valuable land and for a long period of time, and they don't know what to do with it. Oh, that's an interesting question. It's got multiple answers. It's not a simple answer. I think we need to understand the value of land. Land historically has always been a good investment. And if people understand fundamentally why, there's only so much land in this world. Okay, I know in Dubai they build some islands and things, but that's not really cost effective. There's only so much land in this world. There's no more of it being created. And globally, we still have a growing population. The global population in this world, there's more people being born than people are dying every year, so the population in the world is growing. So that means there's more demand for housing, more demand for offices, more demand for industrial, more demand for farming. You know, we would be in a big problem in this world if population size started shrinking. And in some countries, that is the case. You know, a lot of the Western world and developed nations, they've got population shrinkage, which is happening. And I know Elon Musk has been talking about that. That is a big fuck up. That is a big problem that people are not seeing that's coming. There was an interesting statistic a few years ago that says that Japan sells more adult diapers than children's diapers. Now, nothing against old people, but they don't have long to go. And they're not the ones stimulating an economy. They usually have made their money. They're not investing in new businesses. They're not starting businesses. They're not driving the economy forward. In Africa, we've got a different scenario. We've got young population. We've got a growing population. So that's exciting. But why I'm talking about population growth is if there's more people coming, that means there's more demand for land. And the supply of land is fixed. So when you have a supply that's fixed and you have a demand, population growth in this case, which is interesting or increasing, that means that the price of land over the long term should increase every year. And we see that with inflation on land prices. Land inflates, or land prices increase usually 1 or 2% above inflation. So that's what happens to land. So land's a good investment. I would not discourage anybody from owning it, but it depends on what your investment horizon is. And the investment horizon means how long you want to invest in something. It's all good and well to own a piece of land, but you can't do anything with it. You can't farm it. It's not big enough to farm and make income from it. It's not providing that cash flow. So that becomes a problem if the family or the person that owns that land needs money. So that's obviously a reason to sell. And there's a lot of people that we find, and historically, our company has rooted in land development. And there's very few companies in South Africa, you can probably count them on your 10 fingers, that are specialists in land development. And I need to explain what the difference is. You know, there's a lot more top structure developers. That is everything above the land. And top structure developers typically buy a piece of land from a landowner, be it a specialist land developer or a private owner, and they go and hopefully that piece of land, let's say in Cape Town, there's an old house, and you can now apply for new building regulations where you can, instead of one house, you can do 5 apartments or 3 houses or something. A developer will come and buy that, and that's a top structure developer. But to develop land in terms of large parcels of land, anything bigger than a residential stand, there's quite a lot of intricate processes involved and a lot of planning and administration and government interaction. And that becomes quite a difficult thing. So the question, I'm going a bit off track, but the question is, why do people sit with land and why do they struggle to sell their land, or what do they do with the land? You sit with land because it's a good investment. You inherited it or you bought it or something like that. But to unlock that land is difficult. It's not a simple process. And that's where our company comes in. We provide that service. There's a lot more land available in this world than developers like ourselves that have the skills to unlock that land. And then if you filter a little bit more, there's a lot less developers that are willing to partner with landowners to assist them in unlocking more value. So our model is very simple. We do own a lot of land and we do acquire land. We buy land, but very seldomly these days, because land is an expensive thing and it's an asset that takes a lot of our money, our capital, that ties it up, and then we can't use that capital for income-producing assets like producing properties or rentals or things like that. So it's a cash flow component for us. It's a negative cash flow component if we just acquire land. And we own a lot of it already. But we are always open for new business. We've got a team of people, a property development team under the KJA property group, that is dedicated at developing land and unlocking land and top structure, not just the land, the buildings on top, all the way from the start to the finish. So we bring that to the table, and if landowners come to us, and they regularly do with nice pieces of land, we can say to you, okay, it's a good piece of land. We believe, based on our experience and market information, that we can develop this product on that land, and it fits within what we are aiming to do in our company. And then we can do a partnership agreement with a joint venture partnership with that landowner. So typically how it works is the landowner puts their land in, we agree, we negotiate, and we agree a market-related value of that land at the day that they put that land into the pot, when they bring it to us. So let's say the land's worth 10 million rand. Now, the landowner can try and sell that land, but a lot of the time it's very hard to sell barren pieces of land, especially land that hasn't got zoning rights. So there's not a lot of buyers for that. It's not something that a farmer can buy to farm on, it's too small for that, and it's not something that a top structure developer can buy and start developing immediately, or it's too big, it's too expensive. Land can go hundreds of millions or $1 billion rand plus for a piece of land, for a big piece of land. So we partner with the landowner and we say, okay, we agree that your land is worth a lot of money. We agree on a fair market value. We're not going to push you down on your land value. But if you want to unlock that big amount of value, you have to wait for us to be able to unlock that value. We will come in and unlock that value for you. So typically, we do a joint venture with the landowner. We say, okay, you put the land in, we'll bring the necessary cash, funding or capital, if you want to call it that, whether it's equity or debt funding. Everybody puts their money into the pot, and we start with the development process. And obviously, it takes time. It takes a long period of time to do that. Once the development produces a profit and we can unlock that value, we then will pay back the land value to the landowner. We will take back any money that we put in, which is our loan account, our value that we've put in. And after that, we split the profits typically on a 50-50 basis. So it's a very fair development principle. It's the way that we used to do business, and my father has done business in the past. We partner with people on a 50-50 basis. We as developers, however, take control, operational control. You can't have too many cooks in the kitchen. So we align each other where there's legal documents to say this is what we plan on doing. And it's our imperative to maximize the value that we create for ourselves and for the landowner. So we align like that. The incentives are aligned. And then we partner with landowners and we go through the process of unlocking that land. My team goes, and there's a lot of fights and there's a lot of risk. We take the risk. As a company, we've got a balance sheet which we use to raise the capital to invest and to unlock that land. Land is typically only about 10% to 15% of the value of the total development you do on it. So if you've got a piece of land that's worth 10 million or 100 million, that development will typically cost between 100 and 1 billion rand, 10 times the value. So we provide that capital. Our company signs surety to provide that. The banks want the collateral from us. And the banks want two things. The banks want the collateral, so if something goes wrong, they want to know that there's a party, a big brother that can stand behind it if they have to enforce on their loan. And they want to know that the party that they're doing business with has a track record. Now, our company's been around for 40 years this year, and we're very proud of that. So we've got the reputation, the relationship with the banks to unlock these developments. So that's what we bring. The landowner brings the land, but the landowner needs to take risk as well. You can't be getting your value of your land plus sharing the profits if you don't take any risk. So the landowner, the only risk they take is that their land comes in and their land is seen is put in as collateral to the banks. So let's say the land is, like I said, 10 million, and there's another 90 million that we need to put into the ground. That 90 million is backstopped. We as the KJA group sign surety for that. So it's a principle of risk and reward. If you share in the risk with us, we share in the reward with you. And that's how it works. So we're actively looking for projects. And if you have a good project, we'll be quickly able to tell you within a week or two what we can do and whether we can do something on it. And then the deal is, penciled in and it's signed and we can move forward.